Hey there, Capricorn. This is Chronic Joy Tarot, and we're going to do your current reading for Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and or anyone who's drawn to this video at any time. The way my readings go is they're less about outcomes and predictions and other people in your life, and more about your own soul and focusing on an aspect of yourself at any given time in order to grow your soul. So this is all about you. Welcome to my channel if you're new, and if you're returning, thank you. I love you all for being here so much. It really means a lot to me. I know I haven't been as consistent with posting. It's been a very busy summer. I'm hoping that changes as soon as school starts and fall comes. But thank you. Thank you for being here and sticking with me. Okay, so Capricorn, we pulled an oracle card. What I usually do every reading is pull a card for guidance on as to something to focus on, sort of a theme of the reading. And for you at this time, Capricorn, I pulled this card, Emotional Healing. As your heart heals of old emotional pain, you receive new blessings and love. So we're talking about old wounds. We're going to learn a process to address and clear old wounds. So we all have them. We all have buried some. We've all cleared some, right? But we're going to learn how to address it. We're going to learn a new way, maybe, or an old way with new energy, and how to clear some of these old wounds. This might be a tender subject for some of you. If it's too deep and difficult to deal with, focus on a lesser wound. Focus on something that, that first wound that comes to mind is usually the deepest one, right? That's usually the one that's our trigger. So if it's too much and you find that as we go through this, you just can't and you're resistant to it, be kind to yourself and reach for another one. Maybe this is just something that happened last week that isn't as deeply cutting, but be kind to yourself in this whole process, okay? All right, so we're doing this using the Zen Tarot deck. We're doing a spread called the Flying Bird. We have a point of liftoff, and then we move internally on the left wing and externally on the right between the wings to come to a new level of understanding, or come to an awareness or an insight as it pertains to the topic, which is healing wounds. Okay? Your starting point, Capricorn, is comparison. So the first thing that comes to me when I pull this card is there's a lot of mental debate that can go on when it comes to old hurts, past pain. I should have done this. I should have been more like the oak tree. I should have been stronger, or I should have been more like the bamboo and been more flexible and bend with the wind. Whatever your should haves that go through in your mind, because this is a mind card. This is talking about your conversation with yourself and maybe how you should have handled it to avoid this deep pain, to avoid the wound. So this is possibly the first place you go to when you think of your pain. What could I have done to make it different? What could I have done to change the experience? And what I want to gently guide you toward is that there isn't an answer to that. First of all, it isn't something you can change. You did what you did, and you went through what you went through. And perhaps there were other people involved, and they inflicted pain on you. That happened. At the time, with the tools and the skills that you had at the time, you did do your very best. You did do your very best, because we all always are. As you start to move and open up your awareness and become more enlightened and become more You expand your soul more, then, with this perspective you have now, if this is a very, very old wound, well, yeah, if you had all the knowledge and the experience you have in this moment, you would have responded differently back then. But back then, you had what you had. Your capacity was maybe a little more limited. Your experience was more limited. You knew fewer things about yourself and how you could plunge ahead. You didn't know you had that inner strength, or whatever those circumstances are. There is no point in trying to go through the lists of should haves, could haves. There's no point in that. So this is the first thing you want to clear, right? Is to accept you did your best as it pertains to this old pain, and be willing to move on from it. Be willing to receive more love from the universe, to receive new experiences that bring you, that put distance between you and this old pain. Okay? So that's the first thing. Don't tell yourself it could have been different, because you went through what you went through, and be kinder. Be kind to yourself in that way. That you did your very best, and now here you are with more knowledge. And how can I sort of wash this away after the fact? How can I clear this now? The first internal card here that is in response to this point of liftoff card, this takeoff card, is called the fear of flying. So this is an internal energy that's within you that may block your progress, okay, in clearing this wound. Yeah. So, past lives. This could be a very, very deep cellular sort of past life energy, but as it pertains to the life you've lived here now, I'm taking this card as old patterns. Okay? And because it comes off the heels of this comparison card, I'm taking this as break old patterns of thought. Okay? So, to clear the wound, to work on moving on from it and opening up your heart and becoming vulnerable, because that's what it takes in order to move on and grow in this world, right? We have to open our hearts and allow ourselves to be vulnerable. The first step is to stop those old thoughts. I could have done it. I should have done this. Those are patterns, and you're ingrained in that pattern. And if you continue it, this is the energy you'll stay in, right? You won't move forward on to freedom from the wound. You won't. Okay? Now, I'm not saying do this now and stop thinking those things, because this is a very human quality that we have. It's a matter of being kinder to yourself, loving yourself enough to recognize that those thoughts of I could have done better perhaps held you in place, but in a good way. They held you together for a number of time, a number of years, a number of months, or however long old this wound is. So forgive yourself for being in this pattern. There isn't a right or wrong way to move through. We're complex. Life doesn't happen in a straight line, right? It's all over the place, and it grows wide and it grows up and it grows, deep and far and wide. You continue to expand at the pace you're comfortable with. Okay? So it's all okay. But let's see if we can find a way to break these thought patterns. Okay? And I'm looking at this ordinariness card, and I'm realizing, focusing on the life that's here, because this is in an external position, I'm going to take it literally and say, go spend time in nature. More. Like daily, if you can. If you already do, then find a new level of awareness in regards to your surroundings. There is, but I'm taking this as make it a daily practice, this ordinary, make it part of your ordinary day, is to just take your mind off of the shoulda, wouldas, and be right here, right now, right? More often. Because this person that's standing here in this meadow, smelling these flowers right now in this moment, isn't experiencing the old wound. They're experiencing the flowers and the sky and the fresh air. So this is now it's shifting from an inner to an outer perspective, but you know the saying, change your thoughts, change your life. Start to observe and make those observations your point of thought, right? Instead of this past old, that was so hurtful, but I should have done it differently kind of, that is definitely going to keep you in a rut. Opening up to what the life that's here right now is part of the process of healing. It's not saying to discard what you've gone through, but you have a new relationship to it today, right? And the next day, and the next day, right? Okay. The next internal card, the next inner energy that you're aware of that maybe you haven't really shared with others, is that you know it's time. Or if you will know when it's time within you to let go of some of this old pain. Either this is literally for you right now, like I said, if it's a very old wound and you're willing to shift your pattern of thought to move forward, then you know it's right. If you are feeling still kind of caught in the mental chatter, then that's okay too. This is just an awareness. This is just an opening up that there's other possible ways of dealing with this. And it doesn't mean you have to put it into practice this minute. You be kind to yourself. However, if you're willing, then create this new sort of be here now attitude. Create that for yourself every day. And you'll know when the shift is happening. You'll feel it inside. Okay? In response to that, you're going to let go of a lot of sorrow. Going through this process starts here with the awareness of the life that is right in front of you. And that could be as insignificant as, the wind blowing through the leaves right now in the tree and watching the leaves blow and realizing, wow, nature is always going for us. It's always there. There's a bird in the tree and he's maybe chirping really loudly and happy. And that is life right now. That helps you to remove yourself from sorrowful feelings and pain. It helps you because you're experiencing what is right now in the most, in the fullest way possible. And that creates a separation between you and those sorrowful thoughts and the what ifs and the should haves. That creates a separation, just an opening awareness. And like I said, this isn't something that you are going to get overnight or that you get and you keep that way. This is a practice, right? It's a daily practice. And it's okay to tap into that pain and have a thought that, gosh, if I would have handled it differently. But as you start to progress and open up to the life that's right here, you realize, I really did do the best I could at the time. Okay, so the next internal energy and sort of the top of the line for the internal energies, the thing to aspire to, is resting in your laurels. The laziness, the sort of, I'm getting this. I'm letting go of these thoughts one at a time. I'm letting them go. I'm breaking the pattern. I'm going to be more aware and more in my life. I'm going to be more in it. You'll start to really get this really nice sense of accomplishment. Like, you know what? I'm doing this. This is good. And you should applaud yourself when you reach that realization, because you're doing the work. You're doing the work. At whatever pace it takes for you individually, the work is still done, right? It's still being done. And you deserve that acknowledgement, between you and your inner self, that little conversation that goes on. You should feel a sense of achievement as you progress through this. And then the very top of the external energies and sort of the outcome or the insight into the entire reading is going with the flow. So naturally, this whole process, starting with this awareness of what is right in front of you, that is the true flow of life. And that's what you're going to start to achieve. And yeah, I have old wounds and I have past things that have hurt me deeply. And now I stand right here under these trees, smelling the flowers. And that's what my life is right now, right? That helps to create distance between the pain and your current self. It's really just learning to take in each moment as it's presented to you, and that's the pure flow of life. Right? It's a simple concept, but it is not always easy to achieve. And trying to, the first part of this is letting go of those past thoughts, those pattern thoughts. That's going to be the most difficult part, right? Because we are creatures of habit as humans, and we do, like I said, if you see this card that talks about an old wound, what's the first thing you think of? And following that thought, what are the thoughts that come? It's automatic almost. We've trained ourselves as human beings. However, there is space to open up to a new way. There is space waiting for you to step into and have a higher awareness of and stand in this spot you stand in now, maybe years later after the wound happened, and be able to look back and say, oh yeah, had that not happened, I wouldn't be feeling like this right now. I wouldn't be feeling like that. I would not be feeling this sense of, I've come a long way. I've really done it. So just know that your ability to move and create more space between your wounds and your current awareness, you have that ability. You have it. You are the only one that can do it, and it's just a matter of practice. Okay? All right, dear Capricorn, I love you guys. Thank you for being here, and check me out on Instagram if you want. I keep saying I'm there, but I do have an Instagram channel, Living Chronic Joy. Chronic Joy Tarot as well, but my posts have been a little bit slow, but I'm getting there, I promise you. So follow me and check in, okay? I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.